What's the obsession between narcissists and children? Between those who are in positions of power and their desire to exploit those who are energetically vulnerable or weak? Have you ever connected those dots? Because what we're seeing at the highest levels of our society, from the top levels of our government to business, it's shocking. A lot of people are shocked because what we have witnessed and what we are witnessing collectively as a society and as a global society, we are the rug is getting pulled back on the obsession that narcissists and those who are who love power and how they are using their positions of influence to prey upon children and those who are energetically vulnerable. And in today's video, I want to talk about why that is. And don't tune me out here. This isn't just about current events. This is about your life. This is about all of our lives. This is about a trend or a pattern, because narcissism is not just relegated to the select few who are clinically diagnosed with that disorder. Narcissism is a spectrum and it affects all of us. Many of us have traits of this. Not that, and I'm not saying that we're all narcissists, but many of us have traits, right? Because it's part of the human spectrum, and we really need to understand it so that we can become liberated ourselves. So don't tune out. Watch this video in its entirety. Hi, my name is Jamal Javanji. I am a life coach by profession. I'm the founder and CEO of a company called Free to Love Coaching Solutions, LLC. I'm a podcaster, and I'm also the author of the Amazon best-selling book, Living for a Living. And I'm really glad that you decided to take a few minutes to watch this video. And I just want to talk a little bit about this dynamic we're seeing really unfold as a society, but it's not just for us as a society, it's also for us individually to understand something. And this is something I've observed over the many years that I've worked with people. I've been working with people in some capacity for over 2 decades, and I have seen a pattern and a trend. And one of those patterns and trends that we are witnessing, that I have seen, is that narcissists tend to almost become addicted to. It's almost an obsession with children, and with surrounding themselves with those who are easily manipulated or folks who are energetically weak. This is not news. I'm sure you're aware of that as well. But do you understand why that is? It's really important that you do. And narcissists and folks who are predisposed to those tendencies, they're really governed by 2 what I call almost insatiable appetites. Most of this is unconscious on their end, but there are 2 real massive insatiable appetites that they have. And one is as you may know, an insatiable appetite for power. A narcissist they don't know what else to do with themselves, but there's some drive within them that almost is compulsive to take control over and to have power over other people in situations. So and again, they're control freaks, right? But it's not just narcissists, right, that are control freaks. How many of us have problems with being a control freak? That doesn't make you a narcissist. But it is a tendency that you see exacerbated in a narcissistic personality disorder, which is so easy to see, okay? So I'm using that as an example, but this affects a lot of us, right? People who have a tendency to be a control freak, to want to be in control, to want to manage situations, to want to take control of other people and other dynamics, right? But in a narcissist, so let's just talk about narcissism for a moment. Folks who tend to gravitate towards narcissism have an insatiable appetite for control. They must control other people, right? And so the connection with children, who are the most easily able to be controlled and manipulated? It's children. There is some dynamic, most of it's unconscious, but the ability to control people through the use of manipulation or shame or even coercive force, physical force, feeds something very deep within the narcissistic construct. And that need for control over other people is largely stemming from trauma, unprocessed trauma. And most of this trauma is not even conscious on the end of the narcissist, but it's trauma of not feeling safe. And how many of us don't feel safe, right? This is not just a problem for the narcissist. This is a universal human situation or problem, right? So many people fundamentally do not feel safe. Now, I don't mean like they're afraid of something physically happening to them. It's not something conscious you can point to. It's a nervous system dysregulation at the level of the unconscious mind, and also at the nervous system within the body. They don't feel safe. And this usually developed for them at a really early age, and they learned a construct or a strategy. And this isn't just narcissists. Again, this is a lot of us. But you see it exacerbated again with narcissists. They learned a survival skill or survival technique, a personality construct to help them feel safe. It's not effective, but it does help them. It was an attempt to help them feel safe. And that is, they had to be in control of other people and situations because they didn't feel safe. So a narcissistic construct actually gets a deep need met through taking control of other people and situations. And they will do that by any means necessary, right? Usually manipulation, triangulation. Sometimes it can be violent even. But this is why narcissists are drawn to children, because children are the most easily manipulated and controlled, which feeds a deep sense of a deep need that a narcissist has. That's first connection. Second connection, or the second characteristic that narcissists have that you need to be aware of, and this is why they are drawn to children and those who are energetically weak, is that they need to be the center of attention. They need to have a sense of significance, because a narcissist, people who have a narcissistic personality disorder or tendency, right, has a real chasm or void. They have a lot of self-shame. A lot of this is not even conscious. Most of it is unconscious. But narcissists have a deep shame. Deep down inside, they feel very ashamed of themselves. And so in order to cover over that, they have developed a whole construct where they need to be significant. They need to be the most significant person in the room. They need to be the focal point or the center of attention. And it's an insatiable drive. A lot of this has to do with trauma, unprocessed trauma from a very early age, where a person felt totally ridiculed or inadequate in some way, or criticized at a very deep, fundamental core level. This is what created the narcissistic tendency to be somebody who craves the center of attention or to be very significant. And so a narcissist needs to be the hero. They need to be the focal point. They need to be the center of attention. And so when you have an audience of children, children are very easily manipulated and impressed by power. So a narcissist's display of power or influence can easily affect children, and children can become the idolizers, right, of the narcissist. And the narcissist craves that, needs that deeply. And this is why narcissists are often drawn to children and are obsessed with children, but not just children, right? People who are hungry to belong to a community, to a group. People who are hungry to be accepted, right? So a narcissist, the dynamic with a narcissist is that a narcissist offers acceptance and approval to people who are energetically weak, who are people who don't have a ground of being in themselves. So they easily feel ungrounded. So they need to be around the narcissist to get grounding, to get acceptance, to become a part of the community. So they will be drawn to a narcissist, and a narcissist will hold out they'll dangle that, right? If you do what the narcissist wants, if you sing their praises, if you become their cheerleader, if you will give them the attention that they are seeking, they will allow you to be in their community. They'll allow you to be in the circle, right? The approved circle, the circle that belongs. They will grant that to you as long as you keep them as the center of attention. And this is the dynamic. And so sometimes they'll use influence, money, power to get, the promise of future career, the promise of whatever it may be, to keep people in the good graces of the narcissist and to keep those folks from adoring them. This is what a narcissist or a power broker will use. Now, why are we talking about this? What does this have to do with your life? Okay. So we need to bring up this word, begins with the letter A, right? It's addiction. It's the word addiction. A narcissist is profoundly addicted. Now, when we think of addiction, we tend to think of, right, alcohol, drugs, but I'm not talking about that, even though that may be a part of it. Addiction is actually, and I'm convinced it's not just narcissists who are addicted. If you're watching this video, I want you to hear me. I want you to listen carefully. If you're watching this video, there's a high likelihood that you are addicted as well, that you have an addiction. The question is, addiction to what? Most human beings, and I speak as a human being, that I've had to process a lot of these things, almost all of us have a profound addiction to something. And I don't care what the addiction is. We'll talk about what those things could be, right? All of us are addicted to something. And you know where addictions come from? Addictions come from a dysregulated nervous system. A narcissist has a profound dysregulated nervous system, and their addiction is control, right? To satiate that sense of not being safe at the unconscious level. And their addiction is also often significance. They need to be the center of attention. They're addicted to attention, to focus. They're addicted to being celebrated and all of those kinds of things and just being emphasized, right? Because they have a dysregulated nervous system, a deficit at the area of significance. They feel very insignificant. So all of us as human beings have a dysregulated nervous system due to trauma at some sort, unprocessed trauma. And when we don't process trauma, we turn to addictions to try to satiate the deep pain that we're feeling or the dysregulated nature of our nervous system. This is where addictions come from. Now you may not be a narcissist, right? But most human beings that I work with, and I'm a life coach, I work with people, I've been working with people for a long time. Most people that I work with are addicted to performance. Most people have a hard time just sitting still and being present. They have a hard time connecting unless it's connecting around a screen, connecting around a sporting event, connecting around some work event that they're doing. Most people have a hard time just being with themselves, number one, and number two, with other people. There always has to be some medium involved. And the reason for this is because of a dysregulated nervous system. And so what do? We feel like we have to be proving our worth in some way, shape, or form. So a lot of folks are just addicted to performance or work. This is where it comes out. We have to be busy doing something, working, something to distract us from the moment. And this is all we know. And so for folks who have a deficit in the area of significance, they need to be the best at what they're doing. They need to be winning the awards, winning the approval of the community we're in, whether it's a work community, maybe it's our bosses. We need to be getting adulation. We need to have people happy with us and pleased with us, because that's feeding this deep chasm of not being good enough or being insignificant in some sorts. Most people deal with this at some level. Narcissist is just addicted at a level where it's extreme, but it's a spectrum. Now, what we're witnessing as a culture and as a society is it's a mirror. We're seeing our government leaders, we're seeing our business leaders, we're seeing so many folks who have been controlling and abusing children and those who are the most vulnerable. Right? That's what's unfolding. I don't even want to use the names, right? You already know. If you've been watching the news and seeing what's unfolding in our society, you already know what I'm talking about. This is a collective mirror for all of us. When you see narcissists coming to the collective, when we see that reflection of narcissism, which really was what's going on, right? What you're seeing in the news is a collective form of narcissism. It's a narcissistic tendency of our society to Prey upon the children, prey upon the weak, the energetically weak, by those who are in power and in control. And the reason for that, it's an addiction to cover up deep shame. So what we're witnessing is a collective mirror for all of us. What we see is the reflection, right? What we see in the world out here. I've learned this in my time working with people, that the physical world is a reflection of the inner world. It's a reflection of our inner state of being. And for so many of us, if we want to heal this collective narcissism and abuse that we're seeing out here, if you want to heal it, if you want to put an end to it, there's only really one way to do that. And that is to I've learned this, to turn the focus on ourselves and to begin to get deep healing for a dysregulated nervous system that almost 100% of people have. If I've never met a human being, I've been alive several decades on this planet, and I have yet to meet a human being that is not dysregulated at the nervous system level in some way, shape, or form. Everybody needs to do this work. I've witnessed it. So what's the work we're talking about? Healing a dysregulated nervous system so that we can let go of control. Because life works better when you're not in control. I don't know if you've noticed this. When you relinquish control, another word for that is surrender, you can actually start to turn inward and deal with the dysregulated nervous system that doesn't feel safe. Also, when we start to turn inward and deal with the shame, the deep shame that we've been carrying, the self-loathing that we've been carrying. Because if you're seeing a narcissist, narcissists have deep self-loathing of themselves. They're very critical of themselves. They hate themselves. And this is why they're trying to compensate by getting everybody to love them and make them the center of attention. It's a chasm. This is what we're seeing out here. But how many of us also have that same root? So we turn to the addiction of performance and whatever it may be to try to cover over that deep sense of shame that we're feeling, that disconnection that we have from our very own nature and life itself, which is totally perfect, by the way. Life is not a problem, and you are life. I am life. We together are life. But we don't know our worth. We don't know our value until we turn inward and begin to address that. And that requires a purging of energy, a purging of trauma in order to actually clear that so that we can start to tap into our inherent safety, our inherent significance, so that we can step into the truth of who we are and we can stop manipulating people and performing for our worth. And we can literally begin to show up with full presence and do the work we're here to do on the planet. And that's the work I do as a life coach. We turn inward and we begin to dismantle all the things that have caused our nervous system to be so dysregulated. I have a program, it's a 90-day program called the Energy Acquisition System. It's a game changer. People have been raving about it. And here's some more information about it.
I just wasn't sleeping anymore. I felt like I was stuck. I could not stay motivated, and it was hard to focus. I tried self-help books, therapy. I even took a vacation, and nothing helped. And then I found a personal coaching system that gave me back my life. Hi, Jamal.
What she discovered is the Energy Acquisition System developed by Jamal Javanji, a globally recognized coach featured on Fox Network, Newsmax TV, and an Amazon best-selling author with over 100 podcast episodes, guiding listeners and transforming men and women worldwide.
My 90-day coaching system is for anyone looking for a renewed sense of vitality and well-being.
I haven't felt this alive in years. Jamal changed that.
Don't just wait for a change. Do something about it. Book your session with Jamal today.
Your breakthrough begins the moment you say, yes, I'm ready for change. Hit the button below and let's get started. So don't be shy. There's a link in the show notes right below this video. Click the link and schedule your free consultation call, and we can talk more about the 90-day program called the Energy Acquisition System and if it's a good fit for you. If this video has been helpful in any way, informative, I encourage you, please, in the comment section, leave a comment. Leave a comment and tell me what stood out to you in this video. It's really important. I'd love to hear from you. Also, it helps the algorithm. It helps the video get out to more people. And this is really important that we have this conversation collectively as a society. Please don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It goes a long way to really helping the video get out there. So if this video has been of service to you or if it's helped you in any way, please do like and share this video with somebody who needs to hear it. Subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, okay? Until next time, take care. Thank you for listening.